AITA for exposing my boss's genius invention after I realized it wasn't his. 29M, work at a mid-sized tech company that loves to call itself a startup, even though it's been around for 12 years and somehow still doesn't know what it wants to be. I'm a product engineer, not high-ranking, not junior. Right in that uncomfortable middle where you're experienced enough to notice problems, but not important enough to be protected. My boss, Greg, 45M, is the VP of Innovation. That is his actual title. He loves it. He introduces himself with it. He has it embroidered on a jacket. Greg also believes he's a misunderstood genius. He talks constantly about how history overlooks great thinkers, how Edison was robbed, how Tesla was sabotaged, how real innovators are never appreciated in their time. He'd say things like, "One day people will realize what I did here." None of us ever knew what that was supposed to mean. Then about a year ago, Greg announced he'd been working nights on something revolutionary. He said it was going to change the industry. No details, just vibes. He told us to trust him. Red flag number one. A few months later, we're all pulled into a company-wide meeting. Greg walks out on stage like he's Steve Jobs doing a keynote. Black turtleneck, no yoke. He unveils what he calls Project Helix, a software tool that optimizes internal workflows using predictive modeling. The demo is slick. The execs are eating it up. Our CEO actually claps. Everyone starts calling it Greg's baby. Here's the thing. As the demo is running, my stomach drops. Because I've seen this before. Not something similar. Not inspired by. The same interface. Same logic flow. Same weird quirks. I recognize it because I built something almost identical 3 years earlier in my previous job. That project never launched. The company folded, but I still had access to the repo because I was the original architect. At first, I tell myself I'm being paranoid. Ideas overlap. Tech converges. Whatever. Then Greg says a sentence that makes my blood run cold. The key breakthrough was realizing you don't need to reinvent the logic. You just adapt what already works. That was my line, word for word, from an internal pitch deck I wrote years ago. I go home and dig. I pull my old files, old commits, old documentation. Then I watch the recording of Greg's demo. It's not just similar. It's a reskin. Even the same inefficient workaround I used because I was on a deadline. No one else notices. Or maybe they do and don't want to. I sit on this for weeks. I tell no one. I try to convince myself it doesn't matter. Maybe Greg worked on something similar years ago. Maybe I'm wrong. Then the company announces something big. They're filing for a patent. Greg's name is the sole inventor. That's when panic sets in, because patents are public. And if this goes through, my work I can prove I created first, will legally belong to him. I quietly bring this up to my immediate manager. He tells me to be careful and says Greg is very sensitive about ownership. He suggests I let it go. I talk to HR. They smile sympathetically and ask if I have proof. I do. I don't show it yet. Instead, I do something risky. I email Greg directly. I say I recognize similarities between Project Helix and a system I worked on previously, and I ask, politely, if we can talk about it. Greg replies in 3 minutes. He says, "Interesting coincidence. Innovation often arrives at the same place through different minds." Then he CCs legal. That's when I realize this is no longer a misunderstanding. This is a move. Over the next month, Greg starts freezing me out. I'm removed from meetings. My code reviews get nitpicked to death. I'm told my attitude has shifted. Meanwhile, the company is hyping Project Helix everywhere. Blog posts, conferences, press releases. Greg starts being called a visionary. I finally decide, if I'm going down, I'm not going down quietly. I gather everything. Original repos, timestamps, emails, design docs, even a recorded internal demo from my old company, dated years earlier. That looks identical. I bring it all to legal. 2 days later, I'm put on temporary leave pending review. Greg sends a company-wide email about protecting innovation from bad actors. I am furious. Then the twist. Someone leaks. I still don't know who. But an anonymous tip goes to a tech journalist who's already written about our company. The article drops on a Tuesday morning. Headline: Is this revolutionary enterprise tool just a rebranded failure? The journalist lays it all out. Side-by-side screenshots. Timelines. Quotes. Even that same sentence Greg used, credited to me. The internet goes feral. Reddit tears it apart. Twitter does its thing. Former employees from my old company chime in. Our CEO releases a statement saying they're reviewing the matter. Greg goes silent. By Friday, the patent filing is pulled. By Monday, Greg is taking a leave of absence. Here's where it gets messy. Half the company treats me like a hero. The other half treats me like I nuked their stock options. HR calls me in and asks why I didn't handle it internally. I ask how, exactly, I was supposed to do that when internal channels shut me down. They don't answer. Greg's lawyer sends me a letter accusing me of defamation. My lawyer laughs and says, "Let him try." Greg eventually resigns. But the damage is done. Project Helix is dead. Funding dries up. Layoffs happen. People I like lose their jobs. Now some coworkers say I should have let it go. That everyone borrows ideas. that I knew exposing it would hurt innocent people. Others say Greg deserved it and I did the right thing. Even my parents are split. My dad says, "You stood up for yourself." My mom says, "Sometimes being right costs too much." So here I am. I didn't steal anything. I didn't lie. I didn't leak, at least not directly. But my actions blew up a company and wrecked careers. AITA?